Not surprisingly, many critics of the Modi government have been very quick to jump upon the present flare-up, or should I say the standoff in Chumar and in Demchok, and have blamed the confused foreign policy of the Narendra Modi government as responsible for that. They point out that it's only been a few days since Mr. Xi Jinping left India, and in those few days there has been an aggressive comment from the Chinese president asking for loyalty from his troops for a localized regional war in the age of information technology, along with the build-up, and that's clearly aimed at putting India in its place. So did the Modi government get its moves wrong? Should it not have preempted the situation? Did we fail to read the Chinese well, and how are we going to handle it now? On the debate tonight, a quick introduction. We're going into an open debate, which means I'm not going to go in for introductory comments. Just one question at the start. We can go into debate then. Sudhanshu Trivedi of the BJP is taking on Sudhanshu Trivedi of the BJP is taking on C.R. Kesavan of the Congress Party. General G.D. Bakshi, editor of the India Military Review. Professor Kamal Mitra Chanoy of JNU. D. Raja of the Communist Party of India. My first question is to senior journalist and columnist Swapan Dasgupta. Mr. Dasgupta, is Modi's, Modi, has he confused his policy vis-a-vis China? And should he be held responsible for this standoff and for having to fail to read the Chinese well?
Well, you see, Arnab, if Mr. Modi had persisted with the rather pusillanimous foreign policy as regards China, that the earlier government had conducted, then I think we would have seen the Chinese actually stop whatever canal construction was going on in Chumar, walk into Indian territory, or what we believe is Indian territory, they don't. And it would have been a one-sided, no face-off, no problem, love and fresh air for Mr. Xi Jinping, and it would have been fine all along. But the problem, I think, and much to the discomfiture of the Chinese of China, Mr. Modi made it very clear during his interactions with the China's president, is that unless tensions in the border subsided, all those economic diplomacy would bear absolutely no fruit. And this was a very, very important message, and a message which has not been given by India so far. Whether it was the sudden China's realization that India had acquired a spine, which has led to China persisting and trying to stare India down, is the question which we have to ask. Now, my contention is that after a very, very long time, India has stood its ground in a part
so
of
you actually, okay, interesting argument. No, your interesting argument.
We would have actually seen it
okay,
as a
I said open debate.
Which we could have launched.
I said open debate. We are seeing the first interjection. Other panelists can.
I would say that if Modi's fault was that he reversed the foreign policy of the previous UPA government and stood up for India. Now, if that's a crime, I think Mr. Modi is guilty of a gross.
Mr. Dasgupta, may I just say at the start that you have many qualities. You are an extremely gifted writer and a man of great eminence and scholarship, but I find today that you also have the unique quality to pull water out of a rock and see light in a solar eclipse as far as diplomacy is concerned. You're actually saying today, Swapan Dasgupta, that Modi...
Colourful imagery.
No, what you're saying is that, interesting, Swapan Dasgupta argues that because Modi held his ground, the Chinese are acting tough. The counter question can be put that, did he act tough enough? Was he not pusillanimous in his own way? Was there a difference between the way in which he spoke about Chinese expansionism in Japan compared to the silence of the Narendra Modi government on the eve of him representing India at the United Nations General Assembly? C.R. Kesavan is countering you. Go ahead, Mr. Kesavan.
Arnab, I just want to say this. If Mr. Narendra Modi's approach is different and, he sent a strong message, why do we have such intrusion and escalation of troops? The army chief was supposed to be in Bhutan for a 4-day visit yesterday. He's cancelled it because it is very dire. Let me say this, Arnab. The bend over backward policy to appease and please the Chinese has cost us. The Indian government has lost the perception.
Oh, so you admit?
Come across as weak.
So you admit what Swapan Dasgupta said? You concede? You concede right on top of the debate tonight that Manmohan Singh had a bend over backwards policy. You are saying Manmohan Singh had a bend over backwards policy.
When Depth Sang happened, we had 40 people. Today, the build-up is 1,000 people there standing in soldiers. Let me say this: today is a great day for India. The scientists took India closest to the red planet, but the BJP government has got the Red Army right inside India, and this is happening after the visit of the Chinese president. And I'll tell you why. If I'm not interrupted, because of the bending backward policy of the BJP. First, when the president comes in, what do? We say that northeastern people should not be allowed in the hotel where he stays. Is this the message we are sending? Then what we say, employees shouldn't be there, people should not be accepted in the mall, where northeastern people, Mr. Rijju couldn't even attend the state banquet. And what does the Nagaland speaker say? He's an ally of the BJP. He says it is an insult to the people of the northeast that they've been kept away. This is the bend over backward policy. What does the Gujarat government do? Gujarat government releases map.
Am I talking about the Gujarat government map? I spoke about that on Monday.
No.
I spoke about that on Monday. Don't get into non-important areas. Address the issue.
It is not non-important, Arnav.
No, address the issue.
It is the approach.
What was your approach? What was your approach? Mr. Kesavan, calm down. What was your approach? What was your approach? Your approach was that you continued to maintain for the longest possible time. And by the way, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised that the BJP.
India is the largest democracy.
I'm surprised tonight.
India doesn't have a full-time defense minister. India doesn't have a full-time defense minister. Let this government, which was voted into power with such majority, answer this question.
Yeah.
Why don't they have a full-time defense minister?
Yeah, so it's better.
Don't they owe to the people of India?
Well, I don't know but the general quip around is that it's better to have a part-time defense minister than a non-defense minister like A.K. Antony, who thought it was fit to travel for Beijing. Let me complete, Mr. Kesavan. Don't verbally heckle me tonight. Right. So, A.K. Antony thought it was fit to travel for Beijing for talks between July 4th and July 7th, which was weeks after Chinese came to Indian territory and took away our security cameras. I don't know what approach you had then. And I'm really surprised tonight, if I may say so, that the BJP has nothing to counter you with. Maybe Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi is already on the back foot.
Today they have their most powerful aircraft. Today they have the most
three hands going up there.
Aircraft being built up in Tibet.
Three hands go up there, but not of the BJP. Very interesting. The BJP not putting its hands up. The left wants to counter. GD Bakshi wants to counter, and Professor Chenoy wants to counter. But the BJP spokesperson on the program tonight probably has no counter, which is why he's not speaking. Yes, GD Bakshi, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let everybody speak, then finally I will speak.
I admire your patience tonight.
I
admire your patience.
I would like to point out, can I kindly have my say? Can I kindly have my say? Arnab, the Chinese have been following a paradoxical approach. And we have noticed this pattern from last year. Whenever any of their major leaders comes talking peace, trying to wave the the hand of friendship, we have the PLA getting tough. And it is not because the PLA is a rogue army like the Pakistan army. It is by a deliberate design. It is a deliberate carrot and stick policy. I think the only answer to such a deliberate paradoxical approach is to adopt an equally paradoxical approach. When they talk nicely, be nice. When they are not nice, be tough.
Were they being nice?
Give them a tit for tat.
No, were they being nice when
what is required?
Were they being nice
as far
when
as the Congress is concerned? No.
No, were they being nice when Xi Jinping was here? When they began the troop build-up?
Of course, they are not being nice. And
so was it a miraculous? No, 1 second. Was it a miraculous coincidence? Was it a miraculous coincidence?
No.
Did the Modi government not know, Professor Chenoy? Did they not anticipate?
It is a policy ploy.
They didn't know? What kind of diplomacy is this? On the one side, they are troubling you with a civilian build-up in Chumar and in Demchok, a military build-up in both these places. And on the other side, you're rolling the red carpet in Ahmedabad and in Gandhinagar. You're walking along the Sabarmati riverside. It's nice. It's a nice photo opportunity, but doesn't it reflect a confused foreign policy vis-a-vis China? I mean, this is not the way the Chinese talk. The Chinese like to talk direct, straight, one-to-one, a conversation. I mean, that's not what we saw on the first day when Xi Jinping landed here. I mean, You can have ceremony, but ceremony up to what point and for what purpose? And I'm very interested to see tonight the BJP representative has no answer. Probably he concedes that his government's confused foreign policy towards China. Professor Chenoy. Professor Chenoy.
No, but Arnab, this is not just the BJP's problem. When you go in for talks with China, you have to have talks before talks in Beijing and make issues very clear. Successive governments, including the UPA, have not done this. And this is despite advice they've been given by the military advisors, by ambassadors and all that. So there seems to be a terrible continuity of ambiguity in Indian foreign policy towards China. And please note, China has tried to keep us out of any body where we could come to a reconciliation. For example, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, they have insisted we remain an ordinary, not a full member, until Pakistan becomes a full member. So I think we've handled the Chinese wrong. We should have straight talks with them and don't think that these niceties on the streets of Ahmedabad are going to change anything.
Absolutely not.
Hard talk with
I agree
Chinese.
with you. I agree with you. And in April 2013, I went to... Yes, Sudhanshu Trivedi, I see your hand go up. Do you want to let Mr. Raja also have his say? Because you are today the picture of politeness on Newshour. You've broken all records of simply being polite and letting the other side speak, Mr. Trivedi. I find your position on China very different from your position on Yogi Adityanath. Just a small observation tonight. But you will be well advised to know, Mr. Trivedi, that in April 2013, your current Defence Minister Arun Jaitley had all the answers to tackle Chinese aggression. At the time of the increased aggression into Ladakh, he said that there are various options available for a government. You contrast that readiness to deal with China to the muteness and the denial of the BJP when it is sitting in power. Mr. Raja?
No, I want to...
Okay, sure, okay, you want to go ahead. No, but let Mr. Raja also have his say, then I'll see how you respond to all tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Arnab, we should discuss certain substantive issues. It is a fact we have border disputes between India and China. Both the countries have acknowledged this. Both countries have agreed to sort out these border disputes through a meaningful dialogue.
Where is the meaningful dialogue?
Mechanism to carry. That is what we are insisting, and it is there, meaningful dialogue.
What?
Let us forget polemics.
No, 1 second. What meaningful dialogue? I don't see any meaningful dialogue happening. GD Bakshi wants to counter you. No, sir, please.
You don't see. You don't see.
Sir, you're taking a pro-Chinese position.
And both countries. No, listen to me. Both countries have agreed to carry forward the talks, and talks are at higher level. We hope the talks result.
So why are you so soft towards China?
Solution to our.
So why are you so soft towards China?
Let us not.
Why are you being so soft towards China,
anybody.
Mr. Raja?
No. I am objective and realistic, unless others. I am very.
They are not even truly communist as a state anymore. Why are you so soft and prejudiced towards them?
It is not the question of
Arnab, can I come in?
It is the question of being realistic.
No, what is realistic? What is realistic, sir? Sir, you want us to roll up and crawl over, and you want us to say that in our country, no, sir.
Bilaterally,
sir, there
is a dialogue process.
What is?
We should understand this.
Sir, Mr. Raja, you are being. Sir,
China has agreed that.
No, wait a minute. Arnab, can I come in?
Yes, go ahead, General Bakshi.
The issues out of.
Sir, I think Mr. Raja, when there is a Mr. Raja, when there is Mr. Raja, listen to me.
I know what you are trying to say, but one should be realistic and objective. We are two neighbors, and we should live as neighbors.
Sure.
We should improve our relations.
Sure, Pakistan is also a neighbor.
That must be our approach.
Pakistan is also a neighbor. But we should be realistic vis-a-vis them also.
Is also on the other side.
In case of Pakistan also, the
GD Bakshi, please, and after that Sudhanshu Trivedi must get a chance to speak up.
Meaningful dialogue, and India and Pakistan should have very good relations.
Go ahead, General Bakshi.
Mr. Raja, can somebody else kindly
Yes,
come in?
Mr. General Bakshi, go ahead.
Mr. Raja, Mr. Raja, there have been 17 rounds of talks between the special representatives of the two countries, and it has yielded nothing.